One of the most common questions I hear from people new to matcha is, am I doing this right? Is this enough foam? These days, super frothy bowls of matcha are everywhere. But almost no one asks the more important question. Does foam actually matter? So today, we're running an experiment. I'll make 3 bowls of matcha. One with little to no foam, one with a medium amount of foam, and one with a lot of foam. Then we'll compare aroma, texture, and flavor to see what foam really does. If you have matcha, grab your whisk and follow along. To help you clearly see what's happening, I'm using a glass chowan instead of a traditional ceramic one. For today's experiment, I'm using the same recipe for all 3 bowls. About 2 grams of matcha, 60 to 70 milliliters of water. The matcha itself is a smooth Usucha-style tea from Usucha, ideal for comparing techniques. We'll start with a low foam style, sometimes called pond style. To do this, whisk gently near the bottom of the bowl, just enough to fully mix the tea without introducing much air. Then lightly break any large bubbles and finish with a slow circular motion. Visually, this bowl has almost no foam, just open pools of green tea where you can see the particles swirling. What changes? Aroma is much stronger since nothing blocks it. Texture is thinner and more liquid. Flavor is very direct and intense. There's no foam to soften bitterness or hide flaws. If the tea is complex, you'll taste it. If it's bitter, you'll taste that too. One downside is that without foam, the particles settle quickly. That means the first sip is lighter and the last sip is stronger. Now let's add a moderate amount of foam. This time, whisk a little faster with a snappier wrist motion to introduce some air. Once foam forms, bring the whisk closer to the surface to refine the bubbles. This creates a thin, even foam cap on top. The result: aroma is softer than the first bowl. Texture becomes smoother and silkier. Tea stays evenly mixed longer. Flavor-wise, the foam slightly softens sharp edges while still preserving complexity. If you're a coffee drinker, this is closer to a flat white, smooth, balanced, and approachable. Finally, we go for maximum foam. Here, whisk as fast as possible in a rapid back-and-forth motion. Then refine the bubbles near the surface until you get a thick layer of microfoam. Visually, this bowl has a noticeable foam cap, almost like a lid. What happens now? Aroma is the most muted. Texture is very smooth and airy. Flavor becomes softer and rounder. This is similar to a dry cappuccino in coffee terms. You gain smoothness and consistency, but you lose some depth and nuance. The foam also lasts until the final sip, meaning the experience stays consistent throughout. So, does foam matter? Yes, foam absolutely changes matcha. Less foam gives stronger aroma, sharper flavor, more complexity. More foam gives smoother texture, softer taste, less intensity. Foam can mask bitterness, but it can also hide interesting flavors. So the best amount of foam depends on the tea and your preference. I encourage you to try this experiment yourself and see what you enjoy most. Do you prefer a bold pond-style matcha or a smooth, frothy bowl? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your matcha.